I am alive and it is great to be alive. Today I'm going to be showing off the Zenistar, a build for it, but also just give you a walkthrough of how it functions because it's got some weird mechanics. I'm going to show you guys some neat tricks with it as well, but really this video is going to be kind of different. I will show you my build for it, but I'm kind of going to leave this one to your imagination as well because it really depends on what you want to build this thing for. It's a pretty unique weapon, so let's get into it. So for the build though, I've got Tempo Royale because it's my favorite stance, Virulent Scourge, Primed Reach, Prime Fury, Prime Pressure Point, Vicious Frost, Volcanic Edge, Molten Impact, and North Wind. The Primed Reach and Prime Fury are absolutely essential on this weapon in my personal opinion. I will show you why right now. So before we get into it with this weapon and how effective it is against enemies, I want to cover its special mechanics. So the reason the Zenistar is so cool, not only visually but mechanically speaking, is because if you do a charged swing with this weapon, you actually throw the disc that is in the center of the head of this weapon, and it casts this disc and sends out a ring of flame or whatever damage you have equipped on the weapon. It is really cool. This is why the Primed Reach I say is essential, is because the range of the fire around the disc is affected by the range of your melee weapon. So Primed Reach drastically increases the range of this disc, which I will show you here later. But yeah, Prime Fury also because this weapon is extremely slow. I've lined up some enemies here so we can test this ring out. Your ring is probably not going to do this much damage. Holy crap. Yeah, it's just sending people flying. You know, no big deal. It's not that cool. I'm pretty sure that's just because I have a stealth multiply right now because I have the enemy AI on frozen. But yeah, you can also see on the ground the body's sort of jumping or gibbling. I don't think gibbling's a word, but I'm making it one. That is the damage over time that you can visually see the disc doing. Every time it ticks damage, you can see one of those bodies kind of hop a little. So that's nice if you're looking for an example of like the time interval. And then right here, I'll show you guys a demonstration of the range of the disc with Primed Reach. It is absolutely massive. It actually stretches a bit further than you can really see the energy. That obviously depends on your energy brightness, so keep in mind if you pick a bright color you might annoy people, but it's also really nice because it makes it very visibly clear where the edge of the disc damage actually is. Now, before I go any further, I want to cover another really kind of cool mechanic that the weapon has. So while the disc is in the weapon and it's got fire shooting off to the sides, the weapon actually only deals elemental damage, whatever elements you have on it. But when you throw the disc out to act as a defensive ring, the weapon has slash damage. So kind of weird. It will still deal the elements that you equipped on it, but its primary damage type changes. It's actually got a pretty good amount of slash damage. The only reason I'm not a gigantic fan of this is just because, you know, you can either build the weapon to be elemental or a slash weapon. The problem being if you equip slash mods on it, then obviously you're not going to gain any of those mods benefits while the disc is inside the weapon. So as you can see, this kind of creates a weird flip-flop. I usually build the disc to be good at one thing or the other. I just go for straight up status builds is usually the easiest thing to do. Especially since if you wanted a slash weapon, there's plenty of other weapons in the game to use. If you're going to use this thing, you might as well deck it out to have a really cool disc ability. So now I'm going to jump into some of the neat little hints and tricks with this thing to show you guys. This weapon is so much fun to play around with. For example, you can play off of WARFRAME abilities. So Mag's Bubble actually treats the disc as a projectile. So as you can see there, it is just flying around in the bubble. You have made it into an elemental blender that is just going to crisp people. Really cool. I really enjoy this. This is why I'm encouraging you guys to come up with your own builds for this weapon. Try out some crazy stuff because this really is just a weapon that's capable of so many different unique things. There's a lot more to play with here than just your average weapon in the game. The other thing that I wanted to show off is the disc gains benefit from stealth damage. So if you are invisible or something that's much less common that you may not try, but if you go into your puddle as Hydroid, it will also count as being stealth, and your disc will actually do more damage that way. So if you just want to play around with this thing and tweak it and see what it's capable of, there's all kinds of neat little tricks and things you can do. I actually don't don't normally do this, but I am probably gonna post a link to the wiki down below for this weapon because there's just so much to it, and I really don't want to cover all of it in this video because it's too much for me to remember off the top of my head, like all the neat little intricate things you can do with this weapon. And because if I just like read it off to you guys, that doesn't feel like a genuine video. That's not me being me and telling you what I can remember of this weapon and my impressions of it. I would just be telling you what I found online. So I'll link that down in the description below if you want more details. But that's pretty much it for this video. I actually did this one by request from one of my subscribers, so I really appreciate that. I really love when subscribers give me requests because well, I've kind of completely forgotten about this weapon, or it just kind of falls back in my arsenal and I forget to use it. So it's really fun when you guys request stuff because then I get to go back and use it again and sort of get all into it all over again and just find new ways to enjoy Warframe. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your suggestions and requests, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace out, everybody.